Hey, it's Dave from The Door, and yesterday marked 20 years since my wife and I left Windsor, New York to come to Main Street in Bellwood and run this little ministry called The Door. I thought it was going to be a chapter of my life, and instead it became the story of my life. And I love the story God is writing. There have been some scary chapters, there have been some breathtaking chapters, and it has been an amazing story of faith, a story of testing and trial, and a story of God's abundant faithfulness to my family, to the ministry, and to his tender love for all the fatherless kids of this world. Well, I thought I'd start a series for the next 20 days of 20 stories of God's amazing love during our time at The Door. So I want to start with a story way back at the beginning. It was August of 2002, and we moved here. I had $200 to my name when we arrived. By the time we got our family moved in to our little one-bedroom apartment, boy, did we have to downsize. It was like a never-ending camping trip. All of us shoved in one bedroom, 3 kids, the dog, Coleman cots for beds for the kids, a flip chair for my son, the dog piled in there somewhere. And then Satan loves to attack when I couldn't provide. He has done this for 20 years. Every time there's a need, every time there's a shortage, he screams, he roars in my ear, "Shame! Shame on you for not being able to provide. Shame on you for not working a regular job. Shame on you for trusting God that he would somehow come through. See, he didn't, and now you have a need. Shame." That's what Satan always does. This time, the first time, it was shame that my kids needed back to school clothes. They needed sneakers for school. They needed things, and I couldn't pay for them. And I hadn't thought that far ahead. I mean, this was a leap of faith to come here. And it wasn't long, just a couple days, and we got a card in the mail. And it was a family from our church in New York who said every year they bought their own children back to school clothes. And when their kids grew up and left the home, they decided they would buy back to school clothes for a family in need every year. This year they chose our family, and they sent a gift card for Walmart for a few $100s. And it was enough to get my kids everything they needed. God provided. And the spirit of shame was lifted, and the roaring lion of Satan was duct taped by the Lord. Every time Satan has come at me with an accusation, shame on you for trusting God, God has shut him up. But boy, between his roar and God's provision, it's a scary time sometimes. Can I tell you one thing I've learned, even in those scary times? God loves you. You can trust him. It's been 20 years. He has never failed me. So, story number 1, when the roaring lion of shame roars and says, "You are a fool for trusting God," just remember, Satan's a fool, and he'll wind up in hell. And he is no fool who trusts the Lord. That's day 1. We'll see you tomorrow.